The inevitable icon, Travis Jacobs, is part of Coastal Championship Wrestling's debut in Kissimmee, Florida. We're near Orlando. Wow, this is a huge, exciting event. First of all, you had a fatal four-way. What was it like being in there, being a part of that action?
Honestly, it was amazing. The energy of this crowd was awesome. The guys I was in there with, chemistry was off the charts. Nights like this that make wrestling really, really fun. Such a great atmosphere to be a part of, especially here in Kissimmee. And yeah, it's just great to be a part of the CCW family.
It's interesting because you had the veteran Vandal Ortegon, you had the Bus, and you had tag champ Nova was in that match too and all. What was it like getting out there with those three combatants?
It was a lot of fun, man. Like the second Big Rig came out, man. The crowd went crazy for his song. The wheels on the bus go round and round. I was actually caught off guard by that, to be quite honest. Yeah, Johnny's a great guy. I want to wrestle him a lot more. And yeah, man, just everyone in that match was great. Man.
Yeah, it's so cool because Vandal Ortegon, another one, he has a heritage from Greece, and he's been around doing a lot. He actually started down here in South Florida, and has been a lot of CCW shows. He's traveled everywhere. The Bus is actually a school bus driver, which is really cool too, and then Nova's tag team champion. But I would tell you this, those are their stories, but you have an interesting story. So I want to know how you first got into professional wrestling and training.
So when I first started my journey, I was just kind of tired of life, you know. I was out of high school, just working in 9 to 5 at an old retail place. And I was just like, I think I can be doing better. I was 20 years old, and I always wanted to try professional wrestling. So I was living in New Jersey at the time, and I just Googled a bunch of places, looked at all the best ones around, and decided to start my training at the Monster Factory in New Jersey. It's a great place, opened by Larry Sharp. It's now run by Danny Cage. I was trained by some of the best in the world, Ricky Reyes, Damian Priest, Missy Sampson, and eventually I moved down here about 5 years in, and now I train at D-Von Dudley Academy right in Orlando. Another great place, a lot of great trainers, and I'm just so thankful for everyone that's been a part of my journey and has gotten me to this point where I can travel around, do my thing, work in places like CCW.
And that is so cool because when you first start getting in the ring and you're training and all, for you, you're a big guy. You look like an athletic guy. What was it for you when you first started that you had to get used to and try to just get down?
So, honestly, I like doing a lot more athletic things in my matches. The big guy formula, I didn't want to be a part of that. I'm 6'4", 265 pounds, but I know I can do a lot more. I like flying over the top rope. I like doing all the flippy stuff that guys my size shouldn't be doing. So that took a lot of getting used to, trying to find the right mix of when to use those kind of moves and when not to. So, yeah, that's probably the most.
Differences between the training schools, because I'm guessing you're getting your basics up there and then of elevating, and then down here it might be a little more advanced.
Yeah, I'd say both schools are great, and both of them touch on the basics so much, and anyone would be lucky to start out there. But also at both schools, you will learn just as much at both of them. You'll learn how to be advanced, you'll learn how to put matches together, you'll learn how to do everything that's important to the wrestling business. And honestly, even if I didn't come down here, I'd probably still be at the Monster Factory and still perfecting my craft and getting better every single day. Because I know at 5.5 years in, I know I'm good, I can be that much better, and I want to put the time in.
Travis, that's so interesting because you've already had 5.5 years in, but you're still doing the training.
Yes.
And you mentioned it, but just how important is that? Because you may have some wrestlers that maybe put a couple years of training in and they figure, oh, hey, now I'm traveling, doing places, I'm not going to do as much training as I am just going and wrestling.
Yeah, I never want to stop training. I always want to keep going. I've seen people get injured and just stop, and then they try to wrestle in like a year or two's time. They never get back in the ring to practice. They just go on events and try to do their thing. But I will always be the kind of guy that wants to put in the work. I want to earn my spot. I don't want to just be handed stuff. And it's great because I'm in an atmosphere down here at D-Von Dudley Academy. And it's like that at the Monster Factory, and it's like that at all these promotions like CCW. You earn your spot, people respect you, and you get what you earn.
Travis, what is it like up there too, the wrestling industry up there? Because there's a lot of stuff going on in the Northeast.
Yeah.
What is that like up there, wrestling up there? And so far, some of the talent that you got to work with? Who have you got to work with?
So up in the Northeast, I'd say there's so many more promotions. Down here in Florida, you get some good promotions down here. But up in the Northeast, I'd say like New Jersey alone probably has a good 50 promotions just in it by itself. And Florida's probably like 5 New Jerseys. I don't know the right numbers, but yeah, it's just up north compared to down here. There's a lot less spots down here. So you know, if you see someone on a card down here, they're probably one of the best around because there's so many people training, and not a lot of spots to go around on these events.
What do you think about the type of talent that's just in the Orlando area? Because there's so much going on though in Orlando, as far as whether you want to talk about AEW, NXT. I know AEW is based in Jacksonville, but still, there's a lot of stuff as far as exposure down here. For you, how do you feel that, hey, I'm in a good spot, I'm in a good location, as far as if I want to try to elevate my career?
Yeah, there's a lot of good places to go down here. There's always, it's all about climbing. Wrestling industry. So being around the big companies, being able to, you know, go there on the, you know, whenever they need you, whenever they call you, you just always have to be ready. And there's a lot of great schools, a lot of great promotions, so you can stay ready. Like I said, I never want to stop training. I always want to keep training. I always want to be ready for that next opportunity. Down in Orlando, it's one of the best places to be right now as a wrestler.
Who can you tell us that you've competed against that sticks out to you, whether it's someone we may not have heard of on the indies or whether it was a bigger name talent?
Yeah, so one of my favorite opponents I've had, I'm sure if you've been a fan of the indies for a long time, you've heard of this name, Homestead. One of my favorite guys to wrestle. Wrestled in a street fight up in New Jersey. It was crazy. And
a street fight?
A street fight too. He hit me with chairs, rubber chickens, you name it, he hit me with it.
What else? That's right.
But probably the match that means the most to me, around my home area, the 2300 Arena. I just main evented it last week with 3 of the best guys in a fatal 4-way. LSG, Goldie, Bobby Buffet, 3 of the best guys around for a home promotion, the Monster Factory. Honestly, Rob, one of the highlights of my career. And if you've seen her on NXT, Sloane Jacobs, I got to have her last final match on the indie circuit. And between that and 2300, I've just had a phenomenal 2022 so far. Looking to increase who I wrestle right now, so we'll see what happens.
Well, we'll wrap it up with this, because I do want to ask you about if you had an athletic background growing up, if you played any football or any other sports and all, and what was that like transitioning from those sports to pro wrestling?
Yeah, so growing up, I did a lot of baseball actually. I was a big kid, probably 6 foot in like 5th grade, something like that.
Catcher, first base, pitcher? No.
I was a pitcher.
Yeah.
I was a pitcher. I was tall, so I got to scare a lot of the guys when I threw it. But when I got into high school, I transitioned to football and track. I threw shot put, threw javelin, and I was an offensive tackle. Big boy.
Was college ever a thought to try to play, whether it be do the shot put or discus, or even play football, or that wasn't part of the plan?
So for me personally, I got into the high school sports a little too late, so I knew it was going to be very difficult to get a college scholarship. I ended up going to my local community college in South Jersey, but I'm kind of glad I went to my community college because that's when I realized I wanted to pursue wrestling. If I never did that, if maybe I pursued football or track in college, I might not be wrestling right now, and my life would be drastically different. And honestly, I'm kind of thankful that I got to wrestling over everything right now, so it's been great.
Well, I appreciate your time, and I'm going to let you get going, but now I have to ask, Mets, Yankees, Giants, Jets, what are we doing here?
So,
or neither?
I'm a big Philadelphia fan.
No,
Phillies and then Eagles, absolutely. They're gonna two-peat soon.
Hey, with the quarterback, who's the young quarterback the Eagles have now, right? And last year they drafted. Was it the kid was he from Oklahoma? I can't remember now.
I honestly can't remember. I keep up with baseball a lot more than I do football. I just know the Eagles are my team. I'm gonna support them blindly. But baseball, that's my go-to. So.
Phillies, that's it. And also, all right, well, very good. I want to thank you so much for taking the time. Social media for fans?
Yep, catch me on Instagram and Twitter at @TheTravisJacobs and Facebook @TravisJacobs.